We're now moving into week 3. Last week we spent some time looking at beliefs, assumptions, and values, objectivity and subjectivity, and bias. This week we're going to delve into biases a little more with our first topic of the week, types of cognitive biases. Our brains select the information they feel is important, and we create shortcuts of information to make it easier to navigate the world. Sometimes those shortcuts include biases. There are different cognitive biases, sometimes called cognitive shortcuts, that can impact how we observe and interpret the world. Our first cognitive bias is confirmation bias. With confirmation bias, we tend to seek out information or interpret evidence in a way that matches our beliefs or expectations. For example, people who root for a particular sports team will likely seek out articles or information that supports how great that team is. Recently, I've seen people unfriend others on Facebook who hold different beliefs than they do. They want to surround themselves with only the people they agree with. That is another piece of confirmation bias. Our next cognitive bias is halo effect. Our impressions of a person, or even the preconceived notions about a person's profession or some detail that we know about the person, can impact how we perceive that person's behavior and other qualities. When I think of the halo effect, I think back to when I was in elementary school. I went to a Catholic school, and we had a Franciscan nun as our principal. And when I saw her at school, she was always wearing her habit and appeared very prim and proper. Everything you would picture a nun to be. Everything that my religion had taught me she was going to be. I firmly believed that bias. That was my halo effect. That all nuns were straight-laced and very serious and not fun. Those types of things. Well, I went to a party outside of school. She was there in jeans and a t-shirt. She was out dancing with everyone else on the dance floor. She even went so far as to introduce herself to people as Anne and not Sister Anne. It taught me that my halo effect related to nuns was wrong. It was a bias that I held onto that was not true, at least not of all nuns. When you read about the halo effect in your module overview, you'll get some great information about Philip Zimbardo and the Stanford Prison Experiment and how the halo effect can impact social science experiments. Another shortcut our brains use is stereotypes. Fixed, overgeneralized beliefs about a particular group or class of people. Just like the halo effect, stereotypes can be positive or negative. There's a great example of stereotypes found in advertisement in your module overview. Stereotypes can sometimes evolve into a prejudice. Prejudice is typically negative and is an opinion with no basis in facts. We're all familiar with prejudice, and there's another example in the module overview. Typically, our biases, stereotypes, and prejudices are based off a person's membership to a particular group or culture. A group is 2 or more people. They may be doing the same thing, which would be a shared experience. They may be 2 people who appear to be in a relationship. All of you in this class, you're part of a group of students in SCS 100. Your module overview gives a few examples, like members of a sports team, a fandom, or a family. We talked about culture back in Module 1. To recap, a culture is made up of shared beliefs, practices, history, art, language, and/or ways of life that are learned and passed down through generations. The example in your module overview is that everyone living in America is American, but we also have the specific culture based upon the region of the country we live in. I've been fortunate enough to live in several different states and experience several different cultures. People may dress differently, talk differently, have different words for the same thing, and that's all part of culture. When people use words like shopping cart, buggy, carriage, and basket to mean the same thing, they're showing their particular culture from their region of the country. The same can be said for using sub, submarine, hero, grinder, hoagie, or spucky to mean a kind of sandwich. We'll be taking a look at groups and culture in your 3-2 assignment this week. Speaking of your assignments, here's what's due in week 3. As always, make sure that you are reading your module overview and all of the resources for this module. You will submit your initial post to the Week 3 discussion board by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on Thursday. You will have 2 response posts due by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on Sunday night. And your Module 3 activity is also due by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone on Sunday. Just like in weeks 1 and 2, I will have announcements posted for each of your assignments during the week as well. Don't forget, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. You can email me at r.enco@snhu.edu, or you can post your questions in the General Questions discussion board. Have a terrific week, everyone, and I'm here if you need me for anything.